Good evening. Good evening. Welcome to the Living in Utah live question and answer session on a Thursday evening. What an evening it's been. Some technical difficulties to start out with. Had internet, didn't have internet, up and down, and the time is ticking by. So I think we're good. Hopefully we do not lose internet. I'm here every Thursday evening, 8 p.m. Mountain Time, and it's an opportunity. You're welcome to ask any kind of question you'd like, whether it's the state of Utah, the United States, you name it. We will try our very best to come up with an answer for your questions. I love the state of Utah. I love where I live, and I really enjoy doing these events. So it's been an interesting week in Utah. Weather-wise, it's been beautiful. We've had like 90-degree days most days. We are suffering from the California wildfires. It has been cloudy all weekend. It was supposed to clear up later this week. It does not seem to be clearing up. This is an issue we've had for most of the summer, on and off, on and off. Maybe with some of the videos that I do about people moving from California to Utah, they have decided to also send their weather at the same time. So a little different this evening. We have some thunderstorms that rolled through, and the lightning actually was pretty strong in Salt Lake City. There's currently a football game going on between the University of Utah and Weber State University. Weber State's a local community college, and the University of Utah is a little larger school. And they was postponed due to, they had already started the game, but they postponed it due to lightning in the area. So a little bit unusual. Weber State had a nice touchdown on kickoff, but the Utes are damn good. So this game is getting out of hand fast. Yes. Oh, Weber State's got a great program going on. And I think they'll have another successful year up there at Weber State. The University of Utah, of course, I mean, they're playing in the Pac-12 conference. The recruits that they get compared to what Weber State gets, competition is not quite as fair, but it's good to see, though. It's good to see. Is the Weber State game televised? Yes, it is televised. It's on the Pac-12 network, and I'm not sure if there's any other channels, but right now it's on the Pac-12 network. It's college football season, so a lot of schools are getting underway in the state of Utah. We've also got Utah State University. They will be playing Saturday evening at 9 p.m. in Washington State. I believe it's in Pullman, Washington is where the university is located, or that particular area of the country. So there is some other local rivals going on. And tonight, Boise State is playing UCF, and that game has been delayed also due to weather. So quite a bit going on if you're a college football fan. It's that time of year. So I'm a college football fan, so I keep on top of it. I have some season tickets, so it's great to attend. Very good. So other things are happening around the state of Utah besides the weather and the California wildfires that are affecting Utah is we've been in a drought condition. And due to the drought, if you live in Davis or Weber County, you will notice that your secondary water has been cut off September the 1st. There might still be a little bit of water left in the system as it drains down, but eventually your sprinkler systems will not be working in the next day or so. Mine included. So they are shutting the secondary water off early. And that's a little bit of controversy because there's a lot of people that they pay for it. It's in some cities and counties, you'll pay a separate bill, and in some cities, they tack it onto your property tax bill. So there's some residents saying, hey, refund, need a refund here. And they are giving no refunds that I'm aware of. So a little bit controversial there, but This year, we did not have the water. And for those who are joining us from an area that's maybe not familiar with secondary water, quick explanation. It is a water source that comes from the mountains down through channels to your house. It is unfiltered, untreated. It's just comes from snowpack, rainfall, down canals. I've actually witnessed one of the canals. It's actually an open canal, so you can get dirt and all kinds of objects in the water down through the system. So the important thing that I'm getting to on that is it's water that you would not drink or give to maybe your pets. Potentially, you could get sick from it. Some people have filled their swimming pools and had their kids play in it, which has a risk with it. If the kids drink the water and there is some kind of issue with the water, potentially could get sick. So anyways, it's designed to be used for your yard. Water your grass, your plants, your flowers. Clean off the side of your house, maybe clean off your vehicle. Use the water for those purposes. And then you have your culinary water, which pipes into your house, which is treated and filtered, and that would be your drinking water to drink different kinds of drinks and take a shower, etc., with. So that's what secondary water is in a nutshell. It's really handy with the yards is if you have secondary water, it's far less expensive to water your grass and your plants than to use culinary water. So there's a huge savings. Of course, this year it's being cut off early, so maybe not. There'll probably be some people, and I do know of some people that, this has happened before. We've had it cut off early before. And there's people that have run lines from their drinking water outside, and then they have a valve and they shut the valve off, and then they tap their drinking water into their sprinkler system so they can continue watering their yards. So that's considered cross-contamination. That's actually illegal. So you cannot cross-contaminate. They're worried that possibly, the secondary water could get into the drinking water system. So it's something that is a little bit of a no-no. Okay. That's mostly what's going on in the state of Utah this week. It has been a very busy week. I can't believe how quick the week has gone by. And I can't believe it's already September the 2nd, actually. So I still don't know where August went to. Any questions this evening? No questions this evening. I don't have a whole lot this evening, so I am going to enjoy the holiday. So I've got a couple things planned for the holiday. Anybody else got some plans for the holidays? It's a very big weekend. If you're outdoor recreation, you're a boater, UTV, et cetera, it's going to be a packed weekend. Packed weekend for recreation activities. So if you are, be careful out there. I'm going to be out there on a UTV, and it is a weekend where the hospitals do see a lot of accidents. So be very careful. The hospitals right now are at max capacity. Our COVID numbers are about 1,600 cases per day. The ICUs right now are full. So it is not the ideal time to become injured and have to visit the hospital. And I can tell you that personally. Just on Monday, my dad had a fall, hit his face, and was in the emergency room, and it is packed solid. So not the best of days. Glad that there was nothing broken and it's all bruised, and wait for the swelling to go down. But so nothing major, no stroke, no heart attack, nothing like that. That's what we were mostly worried about, that maybe it had a stroke and something happened. But the doctor said, yeah, it's not a good time to need major operations right now in the state of Utah. Sorry to harp on college football, but what do you think of BYU going to the Big 12? I think BYU could keep the conference alive, but BYU being an independent is unique, so I don't know what to think. Good question. I've said for years that BYU needs a conference. They need a conference. For anybody who's a BYU fan, I think it's a must. The whole independent thing really I don't think it's worked out. They have a tough time finding opponents. And some of the opponents that they find, how can you best word this, are maybe not top tier teams. So it's really hard to judge sometimes how good of a program they have. Now they've got some tie-ins with some local schools. So they do play University of Utah. That's been on the schedule. Utah State's been on the schedule. Boise's been on the schedule quite a bit. So they have had some matchups there. But I really think they need a conference. They need to be in a conference, whether it's the Big 12, the Pac-12, the Mountain West. So you can judge them a little bit better when it comes to national championship game, bowl games, et cetera, et cetera. So I think that most of the BYU fans out there would like to be in a conference also. So I just don't think the independent thing really worked out for them. They're making the best of it that they can. They have a big TV contract. Personally, I think that coming to the Big 12, I think BYU will be top of their list. Mostly because the fact they are not tied to it. Being an independent, they are not tied to a conference where they're going to have to shell out money to leave a conference. So it's a lot easier, a lot cleaner to leave that conference. So if you take somebody like, I know Boise has been floating around with the Big 12, so they would probably have to pay the Mountain West some money to leave. Some of the other schools like Cincinnati and Houston, I would imagine, is in the same kind of predicament. So, but BYU to the Big 12, I think is needed, much, much needed. And I think it's needed for the Big 12 also. You're bringing a big school with a big sports program with fans around the country. That's why they've got that big contract with ESPN, because they draw a crowd around the country. So, and that's what the Big 12 needs. The Big 12 really does need that to keep going. So, or, I'm sure that they'll keep going regardless. But, to make yourself stand out with the SEC, you've got to have some schools in your conference. So I really like what the Pac-12 came out with, where they're going to join with or have an alliance with the Big Ten and another conference. That was very unique. There was nothing in writing. It could go any which way. But I've always would like to have seen the Pac-12 and the Big Ten join together somehow. That would really give the SEC a run for their money. With the schools in the Big Ten like Ohio and Michigan, and then of course in the Pac-12 with California schools and University of Utah and Oregon, the Ducks, and would definitely be pretty strong. So very, very strong. We'll see what happens, but yep, I think BYU would, if they were offered the Big 12, my guess is they would probably take it. So whether or not they go with all sports or just football will definitely be a big decision. The traveling cost for the other sports costs a lot of money to go to some of these other schools, and some of the schools are spread out quite a distance. So whether or not BYU could afford to have all their sports in the Big 12 is definitely, I don't personally know their finances, but that would be something to look at. Maybe they'll just go football only, or maybe football and basketball. So I think it's unique. But I think the other thing that would be good for BYU would be the Pac-12 or the Mountain West, which I don't think either conference is opening the door for them, but it is very special for fans. That's why I'm a big fan of the Pac-12 and the Mountain West. I think it is ideal for the fans. Most of the schools are in the same geography. So you can travel to away games, whether you're going to Arizona, Nevada, California, Oregon, Washington. You can do it in a car, a short plane ride. It's affordable for some consumers to support their team and go to away games and home games at the same time. And it really, really, I think that is definitely real big advantage. The Mountain West is the same way. They play like Utah and Idaho and Wyoming and Colorado and some California schools. But if you wanted to go to a game somewhere else, you could probably drive in your car, spend $60, $70, get into the game, buy some tickets, hotel. But you could support your team on away games. So for BYU, if they could have done that, that would be nice. It would be nice too. Pac-12 or Mountain West, and let their fan base enjoy some local games at home and away. Good evening, Curtis. Did you make your trip to Oregon, Washington State, somewhere around that area you were going to at one point? And I'm curious, if you did make your trip, what you thought of those particular states. So I do get a few phone calls actually from Washington State and Oregon. Yeah, Portland and Seattle are areas that I've had inquiries from. So I understand the Portland one. Definitely understand the Portland one. So my sister-in-law, matter of fact, she left Seattle a few years ago, moved back to Idaho. So she enjoyed Seattle. She lived there for many, many years, enjoyed it. But in the end, the cost and everything, and she had the opportunity to retire and sell her home at a very high price, or a very good price. It's even higher than what it was a few years ago when she moved. But she decided to pack up and move back home to Idaho. One of the main reasons, or one of the key reasons for her, she's a real big horse lover. She's always owned horses. And in Seattle, where she used to keep her horse, kept moving further and further and further out of town as places got shut down and bought the land for other developments. And back home in Idaho, she has the horses right on the property. So, and that's a very big passion of hers. Not yet. I've been dealing with financial things and COVID cases for my family. Oh, wow. How is the COVID in the state you are currently located at? I believe you're in Texas, I think. I did not get to leave this month like I planned, plus I'm dealing with my anniversary. Well, have your anniversary in Washington, Oregon. Just a suggestion. But yeah, the COVID cases. So in Utah, by the way, if you're living in the state of Utah, they are starting to do booster shots. The booster shot or the third shot, et cetera, et cetera. Check with local counties and see what's going on. I can tell you about a couple counties right now that I've heard about. One would be Davis County. They are looking at bringing the mobile test station or fixed station that they had down there, where they had the drive-through and everything. They're looking at opening that back up. They may have done so by now. They were looking for people to work it. And in Weber, they are going to start doing the third shot also. And I believe you have to go on the Weber County Health Department. There is a location. I'm not too sure if it's at the health department or another facility they have, but I believe 2 days a week or something like that, they're going to have a like a mass clinic where you can walk in and get the shot. So the health department for Weber County would definitely have a lot of information on that. And Davis counties would also have. I love the drive-through. That's where I went, to the Davis County drive-through. I love the drive-through thing. I thought that was brilliant. But I haven't heard anything yet on Salt Lake County, but I'm sure they're right behind the line. So if you would like the third shot, it looks like it's starting to become available. And I talked to somebody, and it seems like if you had like the Pfizer, I think you have to get the Pfizer again. If you had the Moderna, you have to get the Moderna again, et cetera, et cetera. That's what somebody was telling me. I'm in Texas, but my family is in Georgia. Cool. Cool. What part of Texas are you in? What major city are you close to? I know quite a few people in Texas, got friends in Texas and fellow real estate agents in the Texas area, and some of them. So I talk to some people all the time in Texas. Unique, lots of growth in Texas, lots and lots of growth in Texas. It is, it's a booming state. We're also noticing people moving out of Texas. So I'm noticing people, some of them are coming to Utah. So, but I do want to swing by Utah and check out when I do my trip. Yeah, by all means. And I usually tell most people that if you're planning a trip, you might as well make it a vacation between, and not just the state of Utah. On your way from Texas, if you've never been to the Grand Canyon, amazing place. I love the Grand Canyon. And in southern Utah, pick up a couple of our national parks, Moab, Zion, Bryce Canyon, you name it. Take a look there. Salt Lake City, Park City. Take a trip into Idaho. Island Park area is beautiful. Montana is beautiful this time of year. And one of my favorite, just pop over there, Jackson Hole, Yellowstone. I love Yellowstone. I think Yellowstone is one of the greatest places we have in the United States. So I love my trips there. I'm very fortunate where my father-in-law lives. We actually just pop over to Wyoming border. We're right in Yellowstone right there. Yeah, snowmobile up there and UTV'd and everything. Beautiful, beautiful. Teton Mountains, beautiful area. But yeah, make it a trip. There's a lot to see in this part of the country, whether it's Idaho, Montana, on your way to Oregon or Washington, or a lot of places. Las Vegas, if you'd like to go to Las Vegas, if you've never been to Las Vegas. A lot to see and do. I live in Denton, which is a college town, but I'm 40 minutes away from Dallas and 40 minutes away from Fort Worth. Okay, I have a good idea where you're at. Yes. I actually don't know. I can't think of anybody in Dallas. Most of the people that I talk to are in Houston, Texas, and San Antonio. San Antonio is going like crazy. Whew. I talk to agents out there, and it's the growth in San Antonio and Austin and Houston is just so. I never realized how big Houston was. I had some friends in Houston, Texas that I visited. The friend was getting married, so I went down there. So this was about 5 years ago. And we drove for like an hour, and we were still in Houston. I didn't know how big Houston was. Never knew how big Houston was. So it was a definite shocker for me. Yeah, drive an hour and you're still in Houston. So, and the humidity there in Houston. Ooh, ooh. Wow, that was beautiful. I don't know in Denton what it's like, but Houston, the humidity there is not to my liking. Say it that way. So, yeah, make it a trip. If you're heading somewhere, lots of great places to visit. Depending on what time of year it is. So that you're heading out. If you are doing maybe Montana, we're starting to get into a short window there. Winter comes early, typically, to Montana, so a little narrow window. But the beautiful country up there too, Montana. I love Montana. I just do not like the winters in Montana. Not for me. It's brutal, brutal. Any more questions this evening before we call it a night? Just as humid as Lawrenceville, Georgia. Okay. So you've got quite a bit of humidity too. So humidity is something I'm not a big fan of. Maybe I've just been spoiled with the low humidity we have in Utah and climatized to this state. So, but I dread when I go to high humid areas. Yeah, it's not for me. So definitely not. Any more questions this evening? We'll call it a night. Be back again next week. Week will probably go fast with the holiday. Got a lot planned this weekend, so come next Tuesday and Wednesday, it's gonna drop by real fast. Hope everybody has a good evening. Take care. Stay safe.